Do you want to know how to discipline a child without being abusive? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're going to be talking about effective, calm parenting and discipline. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a real-life story from someone that I recently met and her experience with abusive parenting and the transition. And then we're going to talk about bad advice that people give sometimes. And then we're going to talk about how you can be firm but not abusive. Some people think that if you're firm, that more than likely you've gone over the mark. It's very common in modern society to think in terms of parenting in a very gentle way. And so a lot of people are thinking everything should be pleasing to the child when you're parenting. In fact, I even have videos on this channel about gentle parenting because I do think parenting should be gentle. However, children don't always like a negative consequence that they've earned. They're not always happy about being told no. They don't always enjoy doing a chore or some sort of instruction that a parent tells them to do. You're not going to ever find, if you're truly parenting properly, a time where your child does not experience some boredom, disappointment, anger, some sort of emotion, because they're a human, right? And I think that some parents are hoping that they'll just keep their children at this like emotionally neutral zone all of the time, when in reality that's nobody's human condition. Even though you can choose to understand what is happening emotionally, I have videos about that on this channel as well. Most people, when they think of discipline, they think, well, either it's got to be very passive or very permissive, or they think, well, it's got to be aggressive and they're not going to listen unless they're in fear of you. And just neither one of those is correct, actually. You can have principle, you can have truth, you can have identity and understanding of who you are in that parent-child relationship. You can actually discipline a person and have them learn cause and effect, have them learn consequences, have them make choices all on their own for their own self-government, and not ever have to be mean or abusive to another person. I recently met a parent who told me how grateful she was for teaching self-government. She found me here on YouTube, and she was actually trying to figure out how she could parent her children differently because she got in trouble with the law. And I really admire this person for being so honest about the mistakes that she made and for doing the work to change things for herself. So she was doing things like locking her children in places and making consequences for her children that had psychological impacts that would be considered psychologically, sometimes even physically abusive, because she was trying to get them to feel fear and a need to change. She wanted her children to be afraid of her because she thought that's what she needed to do. And she had been raised that way. So she thought that was normal. In fact, originally she said she didn't want to be that way. But then when her children started being so strong-willed and aggressive, she felt that that was the only way that she could be. And it was the only other thing she'd seen done. And she knew that that's how her parents handled her outbursts, so she better do the same. Neighbors started calling when they were seeing what was going on. And she actually owned up, no, I'm glad they called because I went too far. Some of my children, I think, are traumatized because of it. And it's possible. There are things that can be traumatic. I mean, there's real trauma, and then there's perceived trauma, and then there's like socially perceived trauma, which is not necessarily trauma. all the time, but her children experienced real trauma because of the nature of what she went through. So she went to the website, she started looking through things at teachingselfgovernment.com, learning some skills, looking through videos here on this channel, and listening to my podcast, reading articles, those types of things, and trying to see what she could learn more about self-government. And because this idea, she told me it had to have been a gift from God, because I didn't know what else I was going to do. And I didn't know how I could keep my children and not have the government take them away from me. And she said, so I went looking, and I guess she was a prayerful person, and she felt it was the answer to her prayer. And that's what she told me. And so then she started learning these skills and bumping through them a little bit, and she realized I better take the course. So she finally decided to take the course and to get the coaching and to really start having a change within herself. She did have a change within herself. In fact, I always tell people that teaching self-government, yes, it helps change behaviors. It changes behaviors for the children. It also changes behaviors for the parent, but it's more than that. If a person is truly self-governed, then they have a change of heart. They don't desire to behave the way that they were behaving before. They don't want to do the same things. They don't want to think the same thoughts. They want to be a different version of themselves, a different person. And she did. She said to me, Nicholeen, I hit a point where I looked in the mirror and thought, who is this? Who am I? I'm a lady who used to have her children go out and lay under the car because they'd been bad, and tell them if they moved, then they better not, because I might run them over. She was that psychologically abusive. And she changed to be this person who she didn't even recognize, this type of a person she'd never seen before, this person who was calm, who was loving, who was connective to her children, who was teaching them skills and was learning skills herself. Really important skills, skills like how to follow instructions, how to accept no answers and criticism, how to accept consequences, how to disagree appropriately. She was teaching her children exactly how she would parent them, and she was following through. And their relationship changed. The whole point of this channel is to reach that parent, or that spouse of that parent. Somebody who needs a change in their home. Somebody who wants a change of heart for themselves and for their children. That's the whole reason that I'm even here doing any of this training, is because I know that what happens in people's homes ends up dictating the course for their entire lives, for all of their relationships, and for their nations and their communities too. It all starts inside our own hearts, which means we can't make excuses. We have to give up our excuses that we're holding on to, that we love, give them away, let them go, and we've got to start thinking new thoughts and learning new words. Everything I teach in the Teaching Self-Government parenting system has scripts and formats, structure, things that you can hold on to. Because right now you're already scripted. You already have taught yourself certain things. You're a robot. We all are. We program ourselves, or our parents program us. The only way to change that programming is to use that same trigger to now say new words. And you have to do it again and again and again. And soon your very thought processes change. And your heart becomes softer, more firm, more confident, more understanding and loving, and your relationships change forever. If you want to learn more about this program, there is a full-length class on this channel, and it's called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. So click on the link to that video now, and you'll learn more of those skills and principles of self-government that you're probably needing. I'll see you there.